So unfortunate news, at least reports concerning a few members of the Dallas Cowboys and Houston Texans testing positive for COVID-19. I'm Matt Levine, welcoming you right here to the 954sports.com YouTube channel. Thanks for stopping by, paying a visit. Lots of videos up. Just put one up yesterday. I do a 954sports.com Sports Person of the Week. And the Gronk was honored this week. Go check it out and see what the Gronk is up to as far as good deeds in Tampa. Enough said. Meanwhile, the story is that, again, a handful of players from both the respective NFL squads, including all-pro running back Ezekiel Elliott, have tested positive for COVID-19. And I certainly have no love for the Dallas Cowboys. Only thing worse than the Dallas Cowboys are the Washington Redskins, Philadelphia Eagles. Only thing worse than the Redskins are the Philadelphia Eagles and the Cowboys. Only thing worse than the Eagles. You get it. Anyway, what I'm trying to say as a Giants fan, I just despise the rest of the NFC East. But when it comes to real-life matters, including the health of these players, you certainly, when they're on your rival as well as the team you root for, you certainly wish them the best. So with that said, I certainly have well wishes for the players, anyone afflicted by COVID-19 and what the coronavirus has done in our landscape in the United States and across the globe, and especially in the sports landscape. So this is a shame to see as we are slowly but surely approaching the start to NFL training camps coming at you, at least on the schedule, next month. But again, I do feel terrible for Zeke Elliott, who is just a prime-time football player. He is one of the best in the game, only 24 years old. Feels like he's been around forever. 24 years old, he's had so much success thus far. In his 4 seasons, he's played 56 of 64 games. I always love this stat. When a guy is hovering right around 5 yards per carry, he's right there at 4.6 yards per carry. That means you got almost a first down, right? Give him the ball back-to-back times, you're right there for first down. This is a guy who moves the chain and then some. He's rushed for just over 5,400 yards. 96 yards per game is what he averages. Again, almost getting 100 yards a game from this guy, right? Can tote the rock. He's reliable. He's durable. He can catch the football. He's given the Cowboys 40 touchdowns in his 4-year career thus far. As far as the catches go, 189 receptions, 8 TDs, and about another 1,600 yards receiving the football. He's been on everything back and then some for the Dallas Cowboys. And just again, a baby. 4 years in the NFL, 24 years young. So again, my heartfelt condolences to those players who test positive. The reports are that Zeke is doing well. I wish him all to get well soon. One thing about Zeke that he put out on Twitter, and I thought this initially before I even saw his tweet and a couple of stories that surrounded this story today, and that was one of his tweets. It said HIPAA ? I thought the same thing. No one's health records, I don't care who they are, should be made public. So I wonder how this got out. And he wasn't happy about it, and I don't blame him. You know, not only, I'm sure, are you not feeling happy about getting C-19, right? Basically, your body is violated by a virus that you had no control over, and then it gets out to the public. And in this day and age, we're all dealing with a lot. So, one thing with health, right? No matter how much money you have, you can't buy health. You can get wealth, you can buy everything else just about but health. So, I wish Zeke again and the other guys out there on these teams the best of luck. It is something that the sports landscape will be taking on head-on, I think, for quite some time. And we'll see how things go with the NFL as they get ready again for their respective training camps. Now, there's been a lot of news about Major League Baseball in 2020. I'll get to that in a moment. Also, big news today, and it seems like the Mondays in the new normal, whatever, it is what it is, right? Pretty much encompass the Sunday of the 30-30 the night before. So that's what we're talking about on Mondays. I didn't see the 30-30 about Sosa McGuire. I don't know if I want to see anything about these guys. Summer of 98 was an incredible summer for me because I got to see, I think, arguably in my lifetime, I say this with the 86 Mets, the greatest team in baseball. But that was overshadowed by these two. Sosa to the left, McGuire to the right, and their chase of history, right? To break Roger Maris's 61 homers in 1961, setting the single season record. We both had the chase after baseball had lost some luster due to the 94 strike. A lot of credit was given to these guys for hitting a long ball and bringing fans back into the sport, their chase for history, bringing fans to baseball that never really were fans, and they just got people to love America's pastime and were credited with getting it back on the tracks in a lot of the ways. And then you find out that they were on steroids. Asterisk slapped all over them, both of them. For me, as they say, EOS, end of story. Not much thought given to cheaters. Anyway, interestingly enough, I saw a great story on ESPN where they talked to Joe Torre, Joe T, or as Mr. T, as Derek Jeter so aptly and respectfully put it during his playing years under Torre. Was interviewed, and he said, you know, he understood that the Sosa McGuire home run chase, that grabbed all the headlines in 98. And the story highlights a conversation that Torre recently had with a buddy of his who said, yeah, that was unbelievable, that home run chase. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but I'm going to give you a direct quote. And Torre kind of told his friend, you know, hold on a second. Or more like, now hang on, Torre said, in replying to his friend. What about our team, the Yankees, who won 114 games and set a record? They certainly did. A record that would be eclipsed a few years later by the 2001 Seattle Mariners, who never won a thing, won 116 games. But the Yankees had the record for the most wins for a team that won a World Series in a single season. They won with 125 wins against 50 losses. 114 and 48 in the regular season. Postseason, they kicked everyone's, you know what, sweet sweep against the Rangers in the ALDS. Took out Cleveland 4-2. Kind of sort of a challenge from the Indians. Exacted some revenge from 97 when the Indians took out Mo and the Yanks, right? Let's talk about 98. My way of deflecting. One of the worst sports memories of my life. I'm over it. Not really. Anyway, Yankees would take out the Tribe 4-2. They'd go on to the World Series, and they'd sweep Tony Gwynn. May he rest in peace. What a gentle soul, and what a great hitter. One of the all-time best. They'd defeat them in a 4-game sweep in the World Series. That 98 team that won, again, 114 regular season games, 125 overall. The greatest, as I said, one of the two I've seen as the greatest. Earned their bling. Earned their parade. Earned the headlines. was a season that had so many great characters. I mean, they even had Chili Davis. I know he's a part-time player, but I always loved Chili Davis. He was 38 years young on that team, as was this guy, The Rock, Tim Raines. He was pretty clutch for a 38-year-old. Wasn't quite the base stealer, but it still batted .290. 5 homers, 47 RBI. Of course, you had the straw man, Darryl Strawberry, in his second hurrah as a New York ball player, right? First chapter with the Mets, second go around here, chapter 2 with the Yankees. Had 24 home runs, had a great season. Sort of found the fountain of youth. And then colon cancer got the best of him towards the end of the season. He was shelved, but of course would make a recovery. Straw went through so much in his career. 335 career home runs. Coulda, shoulda, woulda been, I think, one of the best if he didn't get drowned by his own demons and the substance abuse. But still a great New York, a classic ball player of his era, one of the greats. And he has certainly battled the demons, and he's been able to do well for himself later in life. I admire the guy. I always liked Darryl Strawberry. And you had guys like El Duque, survived communism in Cuba and shark-infested waters to come to the United States and find himself in the thick of things on one of the greatest teams ever. What a gamer he was, right? The funky angles. Curveball that reminded me of a wiffle ball at times. Went 12-4 for the Yankees that year. Of course, you had perfection. David Wells. Loved Wells. What a gamer. What a leader in the clubhouse. Just an old-time, old-school ball player. He was quoted as saying he had something like a skull-numbing hangover on May 17th, 1998, when he pitched a perfect game. The 19th in Major League history at the time. Isn't it something? That Don Larson, who of course made history of his own years before that, I believe in 1951, pitched the only, or 56, pitched the only perfect game in World Series history. Both had gone to the same high school in San Diego. Then a year later, on Don Larson Day, in 99 at Yankee Stadium, this guy who was so integral in that 98 squad, David Cone, tossed a no-hitter. Cone, the ace of the 98 team, with a sparkling 20-7 record. So the Yanks had a lot of character on that 98 team. And you know what, Joe Torre? You're absolutely right. The 98 Yankees, no controversy around them, no asterisk. They won out and earned their title in 98. And by the way, they did it at the old house that Ruth built. That's a Yankee Stadium picture circa early 80s. I tried to get it as close to 82, 83. If you can kind of see in the top, I would say about 11:45 on your clock, right about 12 o'clock to the left, the Brute sign, Getty sign, the Marbell sign. I remember all those signs as a kid going to Yankee Stadium. Early summers of the 80s. Great memories. I really do not like the new Yankee Stadium. I've talked about it over and over again. The cliché's getting old, but hate to sound like a broken record, but hey, I am. Meanwhile, this guy today was in the news as I switch gears from the 98 Yankees. Love that team. Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball. About a week ago, he was quoted as saying he was 100% sure, unequivocally sure, that there would be a season. I don't want to say unequivocally 10 times. Said it twice. That's enough. He said, though, you'll have Major League Baseball, right? He was sure of it. Well, today, He was quoted as saying that he's not so sure there'll be Major League Baseball in 2020. Less confident were his words. Meanwhile, the players were quoted as being disgusted by the backtracking of the owners and the management in Major League Baseball. So the bottom line with that, neither side can get their act together. Man, you're not going to see this. Nope. You're not going to see any Major League Baseball in 2020, unfortunately. I think we're going to have to wait for 2021. I'd be shocked. Not surprised. Not even offended. Not disappointed. Not angry. I've grown numb to it. That to me is more disappointing. Disappointed, though, right now. There's no professional sports, I can say that, but not surprised at what has happened with Major League Baseball. I've said this before, too. You look at how the leagues thus far have handled things. I think you would be prone to give them mixed grades. Now, these are as uncertain times as there ever were. And there is no field manual, no instructions. So, in other words, you got to cut some slack for the respective sports leagues. I understand. You cannot forecast what's going on nowadays. Very, very tough juxtaposition. But at least take a look at the National Hockey League. For my 2 cents, they've navigated these difficult waters as well as you could. They haven't dilly-dallied about decisions. They haven't made promises they can't keep. They've just taken it one step at a time, day by day. And that, I wish, is the approach Major League Baseball had taken. Because whether I'm disappointed or not, I do feel this. Players, owners, MLB as a whole, you kind of, sort of, you really did leave us baseball fans hanging.